Let me tell you something, ladies. When God has his hands on your life, you don't walk like everybody else. You don't talk like everybody else. And you certainly don't settle like everybody else. A woman favored by God has something different about her, and people can feel it even before she opens her mouth. The first sign you're favored is your resilience. Life has thrown storms at you that would have broken somebody else, but here you are. You didn't just survive. You came out wiser, stronger, and still standing. That's not luck, that's favor. Let me tell you something. When God has favored you, you can't always explain it to people. Folks will look at you and wonder, how is she still standing after all she's been through? They don't understand the kind of strength it takes to wake up every morning after life has hit you with everything it's got. But here you are, still moving, still smiling sometimes, still believing, still holding on to a little bit of hope. That's not by chance. That's not just because you're tough. That's because God has placed a certain kind of resilience in you. You were built to withstand storms. You were created with something inside you that doesn't break like everybody else does. And that right there is one of the biggest signs of favor. You see, when you're favored, life will test you. It will throw situations at you that seem impossible. You'll face heartbreak, disappointment, rejection, betrayal, loss, things that should have destroyed you. And sometimes you might even sit in the middle of your pain and say, Lord, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this. But somehow you do. Somehow, even when you're on your knees, even when you're crying your eyes out, something in you refuses to quit. And that strength you feel, that whisper that tells you to get up, that reminder that tomorrow is still coming, that's God's favor showing up in your life. Other people can go through the same storm you went through, and it might take them out. They might never recover. But you came out stronger, wiser, and even more determined. That's what favor does. It doesn't mean you don't go through things. It doesn't mean you don't cry, you don't feel pain, or you don't question. It just means you have a covering on your life that won't let the storm finish you. It means God has planted something in you that cannot be destroyed. Sometimes you won't even realize how strong you are until after the battle. You'll look back at everything you survived and you'll shake your head because you'll know you couldn't have done it by yourself. You'll realize it was grace holding you, favor protecting you, and God preparing you. People around you might say, I don't know how you did it, but deep down you'll know. It wasn't me. It was the one who walks with me. And let me tell you something, Elsie, resilience doesn't just show up in big tragedies. It shows up in the everyday grind too. It's in the way you keep working hard even when nobody notices. It's in the way you keep loving even when your heart has been broken before. It's in the way you keep dreaming even though life has tried to convince you to settle. Resilience is in the way you keep moving forward when the world tells you to sit down. And that's favor. It's the evidence that God has invested something in you too valuable to be wasted. Now, here's the thing. Favor will make people misunderstand you. Some will think you're just lucky. Some will say, she acts like she's stronger than everybody else. No, you're not stronger than everybody else. You're just favored. You've got a strength that comes from above, not from yourself. People don't always see the tears you cry at night, the moments you feel like giving up, the times you pray silently in your heart just to make it through the day. But what they do see is that you never stay down for long. That's the mark of someone chosen, someone covered, someone favored. So every time you get back up, every time you refuse to let life defeat you, every time you push past what was designed to break you, understand this. It's not just you being strong. It's God showing the world that his hand is on your life. It's proof that no matter what tries to stop you, it cannot win. Because when you are a woman favored by God, resilience becomes your testimony. The second sign is your spirit of peace. While the world around you is in chaos, you've got a calm that doesn't make sense to people. That's because you know who you belong to, and you know your value doesn't come from man. It comes from God. One of the clearest signs that God's favor is on your life is when you carry peace that doesn't make sense to other people. You ever notice how some folks can be in the middle of chaos, storms raging all around them, but somehow they're not falling apart? That's what happens when you're a woman favored by God. It's not that you don't see the problems. It's not that you don't feel the pressure, but inside you, there's a calm that tells you everything is going to be all right. And that calm is not something you created on your own. That's a gift. That's the presence of God reminding you that He's in control even when you're not. Peace like that confuses people. They look at you and say, how can she still smile when her world looks like it's falling apart? How can she keep her head up when nothing around her is working out? And the answer is simple, because your peace doesn't come from the world. Your peace doesn't depend on money or people or situations lining up the way you want them to. Your peace comes from knowing whose you are. You know that even if everything else changes, God doesn't. You know that even if people walk away, God won't. That kind of assurance creates a peace that can't be shaken. Now, understand this favor doesn't mean you'll never face problems. It doesn't mean people won't try you or situations won't push you to the edge. But what it does mean is that while others lose their minds over the same storm, you've got an anchor that holds you steady. And that anchor is faith. That anchor is trust. That anchor is the knowledge that God is bigger than whatever you're facing. Think about it like this. The enemy's job is to steal your peace. If he can't destroy you, he'll try to distract you, stress you, or get you caught up in fear. But when you're favored, there's a shield around your heart. Even when the enemy throws darts of doubt, they don't stick the way they're supposed to. You still rest at night. You still wake up and say, thank you, Lord. You still find a way to believe, even when believing is hard. That's peace that passes understanding. And here's the powerful part: peace makes you stronger than you realize. When you operate in peace, you don't react to everything. You don't waste your energy fighting small battles. You don't let people drag you into drama that doesn't deserve your time. You start to choose your battles wisely because you know not everything requires your response. That's favor, because God gives you discernment and clarity to keep your spirit calm even when the world around you is loud. You know you're favored when you can sit in silence and still feel full. You don't need constant noise, constant validation, or constant attention to feel good about yourself. That's because your worth is rooted in something unshakable. And that peace makes people respect you in ways they can't explain. They might not even like you, but they'll notice there's something about you they can't ignore. That's the glow of favor. It's not just on your face, it's in your presence. And let me tell you something else. When you carry peace, you bless everyone around you. People will come near you just because they feel calmer in your presence. They'll say, when I talk to her, I feel lighter. That's because peace is contagious. God doesn't just give it to you for yourself. He gives it to you so you can shift the atmosphere for others. That's why people confide in you. That's why they trust you. And that's why they lean on you. They don't even always realize it, but they're experiencing the favor that rests on your life. So when you notice that peace follows you, even in the middle of storms, don't take it lightly. That's a sure sign that God's favor is covering you. And when you walk with that peace, nothing and no one can steal your joy, because what God placed in you cannot be removed by man. The third sign is the way doors open for you. Opportunities show up that you didn't even chase. You walk in faith, and somehow the right people, the right breaks, and the right moments line up for you. That ain't coincidence. That's divine favor. Another way you know you are a woman favored by God is when doors start opening for you that you didn't even chase. You ever had something just fall into place that you weren't expecting? Maybe you weren't qualified on paper. Maybe you didn't have all the resources. Maybe you weren't even looking for it. And suddenly the opportunity came to you. That's favor. That's not something you orchestrated or manipulated. That's God aligning things in your life so perfectly that you can't even explain it. People will say you're lucky, but no, you're not lucky. You're chosen. See, when you're favored, you don't have to beg for what's yours. You don't have to scheme or fight for it. God already has your blessings lined up, and all you have to do is keep walking in faith. And here's the beauty of it: the doors that are meant for you won't stay shut, no matter who tries to lock them. Because when God says yes, nobody's no can stop it. That's how favor works. Think back on your own life. Remember the job you got even though others had more experience. Remember the connection you made that turned out to be life-changing. Remember when somebody stepped in and helped you at the exact time you needed it most. That wasn't coincidence. That was divine timing. That was God saying, I got you. I'm putting you in rooms you didn't even ask for. I'm making a way where there was no way. And sometimes the favor doesn't look like an open door at first. Sometimes it looks like rejection. You thought you wanted something. You thought that was the opportunity, but it slipped through your fingers. You cried, you questioned, you got discouraged. But then later, something better showed up, something you didn't even think was possible. And in that moment, you realize why the first door closed. That's favor too, because God won't let you settle for less than what He has planned for you. When you're favored, you attract things differently. People notice you, even if you're not trying to stand out. You walk into a room and the right eyes land on you. You apply for something and your name rises to the top of the pile. Not because you're perfect, not because you've got it all together, but because God has marked you. And when He marks you, favor follows you. But here's what you have to understand: favor is not always about money, status, or big flashy blessings. Sometimes it's small things that show you how much God cares. You needed a break and suddenly someone offered to help. You were about to give up and an encouraging word came right on time. You didn't know how you were going to make ends meet, and out of nowhere, provision showed up. Those are doors too. Doors of kindness, doors of support, doors of protection. And they're just as valuable as the big breakthroughs because they remind you that you're not walking alone. People will watch your life and wonder how things keep lining up for you. They'll try to figure out your strategy. They'll say you must know the right people or have the right connections. And the truth is, your only connection is with the one who controls it all. That's favor. It's not explainable. It's not predictable. And it doesn't make sense to everyone. But it doesn't have to, because it's not for them. It's for you. And let me tell you something powerful. When God opens a door for you, you don't have to worry about competition. What's meant for you won't pass you by. You don't have to compare yourself to anyone else because their blessing is theirs and yours is yours. When favor is on you, the right opportunities are reserved just for you, and no one can take them. That's why you've seen things fall into your lap that others worked years for. That's why you've walked into places that didn't even seem possible for someone like you. It's not arrogance, it's favor. So every time a door opens that you didn't push, every time an opportunity finds you, remember, this is not chance. This is a sign that God has His hand on your life, guiding you into places you never even thought you could reach. The fourth sign is your heart to help others. A favored woman doesn't just live for herself. She uplifts, she encourages, she inspires. You might not even realize it, but your words, your smile, and your strength give life to the people around you. Another sign that you are a woman favored by God is the way you give to others, the way you carry a heart that wants to lift people up instead of pulling them down. When God places favor on your life, it doesn't just stay with you. It flows through you, and people around you feel it. You don't even always realize it, but your words have healing power. Your presence brings comfort. Your encouragement can spark someone else's faith. That's because favor isn't selfish. It was never meant to be kept to yourself. God blesses you so that you can be a blessing. Think about it. Some people live their lives only looking out for themselves. They step on others to get ahead. They don't share wisdom. They don't extend a hand. They don't give unless they expect something in return. But when you're truly favored, that spirit doesn't sit right with you. You feel called to give even when you don't have much. You feel pulled to help even if nobody notices. And that generosity of spirit, that kindness, that compassion is a sign that God's hand is on you. Because it's not natural to keep pouring into people after you've been hurt, but you do. It's not easy to love after you've been betrayed, but you still do. That's not just personality. That's divine favor shaping your heart. See, when you're favored, your life becomes a light. People are drawn to you not because you're trying to impress them, but because something about you makes them feel seen, valued, and safe. That's why friends come to you for advice, even when you don't have it all figured out yourself. That's why people lean on you, even though you've got your own struggles. They recognize something special in you. They may not put it in words, but what they're really recognizing is the favor of God working through you. And sometimes that can feel heavy. Sometimes you wonder, why do people always expect me to be strong for them? Why do they come to me when I'm the one who could use encouragement? But the truth is, God trusts you with that role because He knows you can carry it. He knows you won't misuse it. He knows you'll point people back to Him, even in the way you live your life. That's favor because it means you are trusted with influence that goes beyond what you even see. Giving doesn't always mean money. Sometimes it's your time, your patience, your listening ear, your prayers. Favor shows up in the way you pour into your children, the way you build up your friends, the way you treat strangers with dignity. That's how you know you're favored. You've got a spirit that leaves people better than you found them. And here's the beautiful thing. When you give from a heart of love, God makes sure you're never empty. You can't outgive Him. Every time you lift someone up, He lifts you higher. Every time you encourage someone else, He deposits more strength into you. You may not always see the return right away, but favor has a way of circling back. What you sow in kindness, you reap in blessings. People may try to take advantage of your giving heart, but even then, God protects you. Sometimes He allows you to see people's true intentions so you can learn discernment. Other times, He blesses you so abundantly that what they took doesn't even hurt you. Either way, your willingness to pour into others is not in vain. It's evidence that you carry something special inside you. The world is full of people who are bitter, angry, and selfish. But you still choose love. You still choose forgiveness. You still choose to see the good, to extend grace, to help someone get back up when life has knocked them down. That's what favor looks like. It's not just about what you receive. It's about how much of God's love shines through you to others. So if you've ever wondered why people are drawn to you, why they look to you for comfort, why they feel lighter after being around you, understand this. It's not an accident. It's a sign. It's proof that you are a woman favored by God, chosen to spread light in a world that desperately needs it. The fifth sign is protection from what should have harmed you. You look back over your life, and you know there were situations that could have destroyed you, but somehow you were shielded. That's because God's covering is over you. Another sign that you are a woman favored by God is the protection you've experienced from things that should have destroyed you. When you look back over your life, you can see moments where the outcome should have been worse, where the situation should have left you broken beyond repair, where the people who came against you should have won. But they didn't. And the only reason you're still here, still moving forward, still standing tall, is because God's hand covered you when you didn't even know you needed covering. That's what favor looks like. Protection in places you couldn't see, safety from harm you didn't even know was coming. There are times in your life when you've been in the wrong place at the wrong time, and somehow you still made it out. You've walked away from situations that destroyed other people. You've survived losses that others couldn't come back from. You've been through heartbreak that should have left you bitter, but instead you healed. That's not by your own strength alone. That's the shield of God. He placed his favor around you like armor, keeping you safe even when the enemy had plans to take you out. Sometimes protection doesn't look like what we expect. Sometimes it's not about being pulled out of danger. It's about being given the strength to endure it without breaking. You might have gone through something painful, but you didn't lose your mind. You didn't lose your soul. You didn't lose your purpose. That's protection too, because even though life hit you hard, it couldn't take away what God planted in you. And let's be honest, there are moments you didn't even know you needed saving. Times when you were about to make a choice that would have cost you. Times when you were about to trust someone who didn't deserve it. Times when you almost walked into something that looked good but wasn't good for you. But somehow something blocked it, something delayed it, something told you no. And later you realized that no was the best thing that ever happened to you. That was favor. That was God keeping you from harm that you couldn't see. There are also people who thought they could break you. They plotted against you. They spoke lies about you. They tried to damage your reputation, your confidence, your future. But here's the thing about being favored. What was meant to harm you, God uses it to elevate you. Every time someone tried to push you down, he used it as a step to lift you higher. Every time someone tried to block you, he rerouted you to something even better. That's protection too, because favor means no weapon formed against you will prosper. They can form it, but it won't succeed. When you think about it, there are accidents you missed, illnesses you recovered from, relationships that ended but didn't destroy you, storms that hit but didn't wipe you out. You don't even know how many times God has kept you safe from things you'll never find out about. There are dangers he removed from your path before you even got close. There are battles he fought on your behalf without you lifting a finger. That's the covering of favor. It surrounds you in ways that you can't always see, but you can always feel when you look back and realize you came out alive, you came out stronger, you came out victorious. And this kind of protection doesn't mean you'll never face challenges. It just means you'll never face them alone. God walks with you into every fight, and his favor makes sure you come out on the other side. That's why you can say, I should have been gone. I should have been finished. I should have been forgotten. But you're not. You're still here. That's not chance. That's favor. That's divine protection that makes you untouchable in ways the world can't explain. The sixth sign is your unshakable faith. You believe even when you don't see it. You trust even when it doesn't make sense. And that faith keeps pulling you into new levels of blessings. Another sign that you are a woman favored by God is your unshakable faith and your ability to rise again no matter how many times life tries to knock you down. Faith like yours is not ordinary. It's not shallow. It's not dependent on whether things are going your way. It's deeper than circumstances. It's a trust that refuses to die, even when everything around you is screaming that it's over. That's what makes you different. You may bend, but you don't break. You may stumble, but you don't stay down. And that ability to get back up again and again, that determination that keeps you moving forward, even when you don't feel like you have the strength, is living proof that you are favored. When you've been through hell and back, but you can still look up and say, Lord, I trust you. That's faith. When the people you counted on walked away, but you kept believing that better was still coming. That's faith. When the doors closed in your face, when opportunities slipped through your fingers, when life told you to quit, but something inside said, just hold on. That's not just your willpower. That's divine favor putting resilience in your spirit. The enemy doesn't fight people who don't carry something valuable. The fact that you faced setback after setback, storm after setback, storm after storm, means that there's something inside you that threatens the enemy. And yet, you're still standing. You're still rising. You're still believing. That's not an accident. That's the mark of favor. Because no matter what comes against you, it cannot destroy what God has placed in you. Think about it. How many times did you say, this is it, I can't take any more? How many nights did you cry yourself to sleep thinking you couldn't get back up? But then morning came and somehow you did. That's because favor gives you a new strength at the exact moment you feel weakest. Favor whispers, keep going when the world tells you to stop. Favor reminds you that your story isn't over, even when you feel like giving up. And it's not just about bouncing back. It's about coming back stronger than before. Every time you rise wiser. Every time you recover with more strength, more courage, and more understanding. People who counted you out look at you in disbelief because they thought that setback would finish you. They thought that heartbreak would define you. They thought that failure would silence you. But instead, you came back with even more determination, with even more fire, with even more faith. That's favor. It turns your setbacks into comebacks. And here's the part people don't always see. They don't see the nights you prayed when you didn't have words. They don't see the tears you wiped away before you faced the world. They don't see the private battles you fought in silence. All they see is that you're still shining, still smiling, still moving forward. That's how favor works. It covers you in a strength that shows on the outside, even when you're still healing on the inside. Unshakable faith is not about never doubting. It's about still believing in the middle of doubt. It's about holding on when your grip is slipping. It's about choosing to rise when staying down would be easier. And when you do that, you show the world what favor really looks like. You show them that nothing and no one can cancel God's plan for your life. So every time you rise again, every time you refuse to quit, every time you declare that you're still standing, you are testifying without saying a word. You are proving that favor is greater than failure. Faith is stronger than fear. And God's hand on your life is bigger than anything that tries to hold you down. And that is how you know you are a woman favored by God.